Hello everyone and welcome to section 9.2. So in this section we're going to look at another method of solving a quadratic equation called completing the square. Right? So there's some instructions of how to complete the square. Basically you want to, whatever you have in your equation, you want to concentrate on the square term and the linear term. So just the x squared plus bx. And when we have those two terms, you want to add a constant at the end that will make it factor as a perfect square. Right? So first of all, you want the coefficient of the x squared term to be 1. Right? So if you had anything in front, you want to factor it out or divide by it. Then identify the b, which is the number in front of the x. Then you're going to take half of that b and square that number. Right? And then once you find that value, you're going to add it to at the end of this binomial. Right? And that will make this a perfect square binomial. So this method will help us in solving quadratic equations by this method of completing the square. So in the first example, we're just going to complete the square. They're not equations. We're just practicing the method. It's like, how do we identify the b and divide it by 2 and square it and putting that number at the end. When we solve equations, then we need to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. Okay, so part A, we have x squared minus 26x. Alright, so we identify the b, so the b is negative 26. So we want to do b over 2 squared. So half of this is negative 13. Negative 13 squared is 169. Okay, so this is the magic number. This is what we need to add to this in order to make it a perfect square. Alright, so once you do, we can factor it as x minus 13 and x minus 13, which is x minus 13 squared. All right. Let's look at part B. So we have y squared minus 9y. So the coefficient of the y squared is 1, which means that we don't have to factor anything out. This is your b. B is negative 9. You need to divide b by 2 and then square it. So we have negative 9 over 2 squared, which is 81 over 4. So this is the magic number, 81 over 4, which we need to add at the end to make it factor as a perfect square. So when I factor this, I have y and y, and this is going to be negative 9 over 2. And negative 9 over 2, because that's what multiplies to give me positive 81 over 4. Okay, so this is y minus 9 over 2 squared. So that's our goal, to start with those given terms and make it factor as a perfect square. All right, let's look at C, n squared plus 1/2 n. All right. So coefficient of 1, so we're good. Our b is 1/2. So we need b over 2 squared. So we have 1/2 divided by 2 squared. 1/2 divided by 2 is 1 over 4. And 1 over 4 squared is 1 over 16. Oops, too many ones. Alright, so we have the magic number 1 over 16 here. This makes this factor as a perfect square. So n squared is n times n. 1 over 16 is 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. So this is n plus 1 over 4 squared. Okay, so this is the process of completing the square. Now in all the other examples in the section, we are using this to solve equations. All right?